Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Unreal Engine live stream. Joining us today is Randy Greenback.
Hey,
He's
how's
our
it going?
special guest. Yes, we're going to be talking about Friday the 13th in just a little bit. So we had you all guessing beforehand who our guest was going to be and what the game was going to be about because they gave us some secret codes to give out to people. So we have 5 people who did guess it correct. So we'll reveal who those people were at the end of the stream. But first, before we get to all that, it's the news. Yes, our first news item is going to be 4.15.2 hotfix released. This happened just a few days ago. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's another update to 4.15. It helps address some of those D3D hung crashes. Yes, you're the tiny little box in the corner now. Yeah, all right. so they can still see you. Don't do anything inappropriate. And then past that, we've got a bunch of other smaller crashes. But going with this, there's also a blog post that you should check out, tracking down GPU hangs with NVIDIA Aftermath and 4.15.2. NVIDIA Aftermath allows us to get more information from GPU crashes specifically that we weren't getting as much beforehand. It's really awesome, helps us find the root cause of things is a lot faster. We know that, you guys out there send your crash reports in. We have people that read those, but this is going to give us a lot more to work off of. So thank you to the NVIDIA team for helping us with that. And also thank you to, I guess, our own people for getting on top of that. Thanks, guys. All right. Next up, there's a spring flash sale going on for 24 hours right now only. You have to go to the marketplace and do this. It's very, very fast as it will be gone by 9 o'clock a.m. tomorrow. And this is the event sale page. It's got quite a few. I think it's 23 total items that are on sale. I'm zoomed in quite a bit, so my top banner is huge. Please ignore that. But please check out all of the stuff that is now available on the sale. How Unreal Engine helped to bring Chicago's phenomenal experimental installation 150 media stream to life. Basically, here's a new blog. This is a new showcase by Daniel Kaiser where he talks to some artists and some different people who worked in Chicago to build this really cool optical wall. It's kind of a one-of-a-kind thing. It goes through a bunch of different images, videos. It's very shiny, isn't it? Like, we have some stuff in downtown Raleigh. It's a little similar, like neon lights, but nothing this cool. This is really, isn't that nice?
What are you trying to say about Raleigh?
What? No, we got plenty of cool stuff. We need one of these light walls, dude. Look at that.
Yeah. Just gotta reach out, make it happen.
This is in Chicago. Yeah. Clint's over here. Like, we're gonna go check this out. So, so check out the showcase here, because I know that you guys are probably interested in seeing things that aren't necessarily games that can be done with Unreal Engine as well.
If Raleigh doesn't do it, just do it on the back wall here.
Yeah, actually, you know what? We need an update. The fake wood back wall paneling thing. I shouldn't admit that it's like...
It looks really good. I'm just saying that if Raleigh doesn't do it, you guys have the means.
Oh, clearly. Yeah. The human race, we talked about this one before. This was part of our GDC reveals and cool stuff that we're doing there. But there's a really nice breakdown here Barbara Marshall provides. I kind of want to just get to, here's like the main images. You see it's the car with the markers all on it, the faked in cars with shadows and actual lighting from the scene. Actual reflections from inside the scene which are captured on the device. We'll go into full detail as to how this works and how every car commercial that you watch now needs to be questioned. Because here you go, we have some great breakdowns explaining how it was done. They're very cool. I really enjoy seeing how like a lot of things are done behind the scenes. It's pretty in depth, and then also we have like our executive team like Kim Library and whatnot talking about what's going on there. I see a lot of people in chat are seeing like, oh, it's Randy Greenback, so you're a popular man. All right, so that's our news items. Our next thing that's up is Community Spotlight. Going to roll through these pretty quick. As you all know, answers.unrealengine.com is where people go to help each other out with questions and answers. And if you do answer each other's questions, you can get karma points off of that. So let's see who our top karma earners of the week are. Number 1, Two-Faced. You're new. You have 673. Wow. Look at that. Like,
that's amazing.
That's crazy amount of points. MK Studio is the next one up at 225. That's reasonable, but that's a lot. Thank you so much, MK Studio. And Benergy, all three of you. Well, Benergy, I know you already have prestige. I think MK already has like the special badge, but you get badges for being in the top 3, of course. And let's see, next down the line, oh boy, Mirauk. How do you think that's pronounced?
Miroak?
Miroak. Miroak. Yeah, that's
Maybe.
pretty good. 42 Espoir.
Espoir.
Espoir. Oh,
Ooh,
maybe it's French. Espoir. Yeah, it's like a silent R there. Mob Folios, Death Ray, Seraph Fox, Scott Spadia, hey buddy, Gen V. Thank you all so much for coming out, helping each other out, and getting up on the high scoreboard list. That's our shout outs for this day. Next up, we have our community spotlights. Our first spotlight here is Milestone is an interesting little studio. They switched from their proprietary engine to UE4, and they've documented their transition on this Gama Sutra article, which got passed around internally here at Epic. A lot of people were very interested in checking it out. But if you want to see how they reworked our engine for their racing game and how they've transitioned from making MotoGP 17 from their engine to ours, please check out this amazing blog post. They go into all the details. They have like a lot of bits of what went right, what went wrong, and then using physics and what all went into the physics engine and what they went into changing that. So please take a look there, and also you can leave comments and get feedback from them. So it's very cool of them to have made that. And if you out there are writing anything like a postmortem or blog post such as that, please send it my way so that I can highlight it here on the stream. Next up, building a library of images for everybody, or for everyone, I should say. Eric Matthias made soundimage.org here, and I'm going to just hop on in. Soundimage.org, this is a little bit of a lot of a lot of UI going on, but everything here that says TXR is a texture that he's giving away for free that you can just grab, or it's a series of textures, I should say, but it's a category of tons of different textures. A lot of these are raw, some are repeating and tiled properly, but you can use them for your projects and just have fun with them. They're very high quality and they look just really great, really usable in a lot of scenarios. So check them out. Thank you so much to Eric. This is off of our forums community content tools and tutorials, but it will be linked in the description after we go and put this in the archive, and also I put these up in the launcher after the fact. So make sure you take a look for building a library of images for everyone and look at all the cool pictures. And then finally, sorry, it was supposed to be a little bit lower. Fringe. Last week we had a community spotlight where I talked about the Staffordshire student projects that came out. There was a ton of really awesome ones. This one team reached out to me to talk about theirs in particular and to show that they actually have, say, 12-page long forum post over at 3dhit.co.uk, I should say, where they actually completely document, like start to finish, how it was made. They end up with these gorgeous scenes. Overall, you just kind of have to check it out, see chunk by chunk. I know that you all like to see someone break down exactly how they got to something. There's some gorgeous little videos to take a look at too, and it's a very small one, but it's not wanting to load right now. But you can see from the images, it's very pretty. Take a look at it. These guys, it's a team of 3 that was working on it. Let's see, Craig Payne, Ben McCauley, and oops. Sorry, I'm going a little too fast for my own good. And Polypedal here, who reached out to me. But yes, these are really great looking game. Just want to say congratulations to that team of students. It looks like it was made by seasoned veterans for sure. Like, doesn't it look good? You want to have a snowy environment for Friday the 13th,
I don't
man?
know. People have talked about it.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool, like having a dangerous mountain cabin kind of thing. That's pretty sick. And speaking of which, that is the last of the things. Clint, you want to take us back up here really fast? And then, actually, you know what? Before we really get into the interview and stuff, we probably want to play them the trailer so they have a little bit of context. So, Clint, let's roll that really fast.
M for mature.
Sweet.
Question, is there...
return. He's killing my friends. We need you. Oh my god. Oh my god. We need you here right now. Please. Ah!
That was just very visceral and beautiful thing.
Thank you.
I think that you've really nailed it.
May 26th. It's soon.
Yeah,
Very, very
yeah,
soon.
Very soon. So yeah, May 26th. That's when it's going to be out for everyone to get.
Yep.
But before we get into exactly when they can pick it up and all that stuff, let's talk about you actually, Randy. Who are you to these people? And
Sometimes I don't know. I mean, who is anybody? Are
And-
we even alive? Does this really matter? What is existence?
Oh man, it's very Rene Descartes. It's all getting a little philosophical in here. But what's your background in the industry, and how did you end up on this project?
I've been in the industry for about 23 years. I started out at a company called Westwood Studios, made some games.
I think
worked
I've
on
heard
games.
of them.
Have you
Maybe
heard of them?
I think
they haven't
so.
been around for a long time.
Yeah.
But like Command and Conquer, Red Alert, Command and Conquer Tiberian Sun, Command and Conquer Generals, stuff like that.
Kind of cared a lot about those. Those might have defined a lot of my life. Yeah.
So I started my industry, my time in the industry back then at that studio, working mainly on RTSs. Ended up working down the road at Red Storm. Was creative director there. Worked on like different games in the Ghost Recon and Rainbow Six brands, even America's Army. Worked for a short period of time at Insomniac and worked on 3 different Ratchet and Clank games. And I've mostly been a game designer / creative director during my career, but now I'm doing a lot of production work and some biz dev and dabbling in anything I can get my hands on because I love making games. So yeah, so what brought me to Friday the 13th, I've been working with Gun Media, and we ended up making a game called Breach and Clear, and then the follow-up to that, Breach and Clear Deadline. They're both kind of strategy games, kind of harkening back to like a mix of RTS, turn-based strategy, kind of a hybrid, like a simul-turn game, and having fun with that. And then once Breach and Clear got out and Breach and Clear Deadline was getting ready to wrap up, we were like, what are we going to do next? So we were talking about it. I was talking with Wes Keltner, who runs Gun and owns Gun, and Ronnie Hobbs, who's also a co-creator of Friday the 13th, about what we're going to do next. And we started talking about wanting to do an homage to Friday the 13th, like as a game, like how would that be? We talked about, how it could work, where you could play as the slasher, and do it as a multiplayer game, an asymmetrical multiplayer game. And that was really interesting to me. And we started talking about it, and we ended up pursuing a different game. It was this game, but it was called originally Summer Camp, right? Slasher Volume 1, Summer Camp. And but it was this game, pretty much exactly. And we started working on it, and little did we know that it was going to take off and actually become like well known in the industry. Like people started writing it up, IGN started covering it, like tons of different. As soon as we announced it, all of a sudden, boom! It started blowing up, and we're like, this is going really good. Like we're excited. We're Summer Camp's going to be a thing. And then it wasn't long after that we were contacted by Sean Cunningham himself, the creator, the original director of the first Friday the 13th movie. And we were at first like, whoa.
Because you think it's the scary call, you think it's the cease and desist call,
exactly.
right?
Like, what are you guys doing? like you're dancing too close to the flames, right? Luckily, it wasn't that. He actually wanted to offer us the license for Friday the 13th up front for nothing.
This is such a miracle thing.
It's like a Cinderella story. Like this doesn't even happen. Like I've never heard of this in all my years in the game industry. Like the actual license landing in a small developer's lap.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
I've seen it go south so many times. That's an absolute miracle, but it's a good one. This is awesome.
Yeah. So after we got the license, we were like, okay, well, now we have to. How are we going to tell everybody? And then also, the conundrum happened where it's like we still have the same budget, and now expectations are gonna increase. Like they have to. We're making Friday the 13th the game. Now what? How are we going to raise money? So we did Kickstarter, and then we timed our announcement with the launch of the Kickstarter. So We Are Friday the 13th had a big trailer to announce the game, and then boom, Kickstarter went up, and it was out there because people are going to want to play as multiple Jasons, whereas we only had the one killer planned for summer camp, and we had to recreate the environments. People are going to expect a higher fidelity of graphics, and they have to be right now. We have to be accurate to the films,
Yeah,
which
the
is more
costumes all
time,
have to be
more costly.
absolutely right.
So all of a sudden, it became Friday the 13th, and that brought a lot of baggage with it, but it was all good, right? Ultimately.
Yeah, it sounds like good problems to have. If you want the problem of them of being too popular, actually, it's a really good thing. And the Kickstarter was a big success, and you guys, did you hit any stretch goals with that one?
We did hit several stretch goals as well. We raised $824,000, which definitely helped bring us here. And then we rolled that into backer kit, which is kind of like a slacker backer. We called it slasher backer.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, we've been funding the game by crowd.
That's so incredible. So tell me a little bit more about Ilphonic as a studio, and then we'll get into Gun as well.
So Ilphonic, great studio out of Denver, Colorado. Great guys. Like basically when we started trying to find a developer for summer camp, and we even before we knew it was going to be Friday the 13th, we knew we needed somebody who had actually worked with an asymmetrical game. So Ilphonic actually had experience working on Evolve, right?
Correct.
Working with Turtle Rock, right? So I'd actually had a friend who had worked at Turtle Rock and had just recently left, and I said, hey, can you get me in touch? And can you get Gunn in touch with Turtle Rock? And then we talked to the head of Turtle Rock, and actually he recommended that we talk to Ilphonic. And once we met with the Ilphonic guys after that match was made, it was like a perfect fit.
Yeah.
Like we talked to Chuck there, who's the head of Ilphonic, and it was like, these are our guys. These are the people who are going to help build Friday the 13th, the game. Well, summer camp at the time, but yeah, it was very fortuitous. It was just all who you know and your connections, and led us to this point.
That's amazing. There's the toilet kill. That's excellent.
Yeah, but Ilphonic is it's about 25 developers there working on the game, and they've been doing a bang up job. Obviously.
Yeah, it's looking really bang up. Bang up's probably it's the perfect words to describe that.
Yeah,
Ow.
Yeah, she's passed away, or at least passed out.
Yeah. For the T rating that you guys clearly
we're
had.
definitely a hard M.
Oh yeah.
Couldn't tell.
Color commentary from Clint over here. Let's see here. And Ilphonic, those are local here to Raleigh. Are they scattered about?
Ilphonic is all in Denver.
Okay.
They have an office there in Denver. Like I was saying, I think there are probably around 25 developers there. They've worked on other games besides Evolve. So they did their own game, Nexus. It was a multiplayer game. So and they're working on others as well. So
That's very cool.
this is one of their games that they're working on, but it's probably their biggest game, Friday the 13th.
And tell me a little bit about Gun, like what you guys are doing over there with them.
So Gun is a small company, and we're basically five people.
Yeah.
And it was always meant to be a small publisher. Kind of originally started to kind of follow the Hollywood model, where you pick and choose who you're working with per project, and then they're on board for that project, and then anybody that's not necessary to go on to the next one kind of gets scattered to the winds. But everybody was kind of going to be working, in that way. So we always wanted to work with developers that made sense for each specific game that we're putting out. Oops, bad idea.
There you go.
I failed.
There we
to
go.
Put that on silent.
Well, that's all right. That's why we do it live. Guaranteed something's going to go wrong. There we go. Next up on here. And you guys are brand new too, like since you were kind of built around this initial project, right?
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, we've done 2 other titles.
Okay.
Breach and Clear and Breach and Clear Deadline.
Right.
I believe Breach and Clear came out in 2013.
Okay, so that was through Gun
all through Gun.
Okay.
And so this is our 3rd game that we're releasing.
Okay.
But every game we've kind of leveled up our what we do and the quality level and the scope of the game as well.
Oh yeah. And you know, it's funny. I've seen Breaching Clean as well. I think.
Yeah.
I actually met Rami, the guy
Okay.
who made the parody of it. It's a very fun, very fun little game, isn't that? And let's see. You already gone over exactly how you guys got started and all that, and you mentioned that it's mostly out of here in Raleigh, right? Like if I wanted to go hang out some more of your crew, if I went to like a game dev drink up, I'd be seeing most of them.
Actually, no, I'm the only one here.
Really?
Really.
So is everyone else?
Everybody else is in Kentucky, Lexington, Kentucky.
in
From Gun.
Oh, in Kentucky.
Yeah.
That's not where I was expecting you to say they were.
A lot of people don't know. There is actually a pretty, I wouldn't say large, but there is a very dedicated game development scene there in Lexington.
Oh yeah.
So there's several studios out that way, and then in that whole region, there's a few more. So.
Oh wow. So cool. Let's talk a little bit about Friday the 13th itself. And you went over getting the rights to it, but did that also put you in contact with Kane, the actual actor who plays as Jason? And how did that beautiful friendship come to exist? Because I love looking at you guys on Twitter and Facebook and seeing the interactions there.
So Kane, also Tom Savini and Harry Manfredini.
Yes.
Tom Savini, if people don't know, worked on like tons of movies. Still, he's an actor, but he's also a special effects and gore artist, right? Yeah. So he's they call him the volcano of the mind and the Sultan of Splatter. So
Sultan of Splatter.
If you've seen some of his horror movies, he's done all the prosthetics, the makeup, and also like he's designed kills and stuff like that. So obviously we want Tom Savini on board, but we actually had all three of them from the Friday the 13th movies. Harry Manfredini scored all the Friday the 13th movies. We knew, even when we were at summer camp, we want to be working with these guys since we're paying homage to the actual movies that they worked on. So we brought them on board, and that's when Kane came on. So it started with Kane, and then ended up webbing out to Harry and Tom. So Kane came on board. He was going to do all the mocap for the killer for summer camp, which was going to be a wholly new design killer. So once that went down, he ended up getting us in touch with Tom Savini and Harry Manfredini, and we are where we are.
That's incredible. Yeah, the mocap, and which is what we're seeing here. That's him.
That's him.
Oh.
So Kane,
Excellent. If
people don't know, Kane was he played Jason in Part 7, 8, 9, and X. So Jason X as well. But yeah. Every version of Jason here, even the ones that Kane Hodder didn't play originally, he did play them here.
That's cool. So he's kind of backfilling for the other actors, because I think it was a couple more. It wasn't just like one person.
No, pretty much every movie had, up until Kane, had a different actor.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
But like he nailed the part so well. Like whenever most everybody's favorite Jason is one of the Kane Hodder Jasons. Most everybody.
I mean, I think unfortunately I got in really late, so Jason X was my start, and then I went all the way back and watched like the original with his mom as the killer and all that. But yeah,
that's a spoiler.
No, I thought you all knew. Oh, darn. I thought that was like the common knowledge. It's like, oh yeah, like the fun fact about the original one. And
I haven't watched it by now.
Yeah. I mean, it's been out for a certain amount of years. It's spoilers. The alien comes bursting out of the guy's chest. Stuff like that. So it's. Yeah, I ruined it.
Oh, great.
He didn't know. He hasn't seen Alien. Totally hasn't seen Alien.
Alex.
Yeah, I know. I'm a monster. What's interesting to me is you've said in some other posts, like blog posts, etc. When he comes on, he puts on the Jason mask in the mocap outfits too. So he's got all like the balls on, and then he's got the horrifying, scary Jason mask.
Yeah.
So is that scary or kind of funny? Because when I saw the pictures, I was like, he's huge and intimidating, but he's covered in ping pong balls.
Yeah, those pictures are something.
And he gets
else.
into character, right?
He gets into character. Like he doesn't put that mask on unless he's gonna get serious. And when he gets that mask on, you kind of just feel the energy coming off of him. Like he gets scary. He just leers at you. He stops talking and becomes a lot of grunting, and very loudly. So you kind of go, oh, whoa, this is getting real. And then he gets out on the floor, even in mocap, and he's throwing people around, and he's lifting them up by the throat and pushing them against the wall, and like fake ripping their arms off, but like really getting in there and doing it.
Oh,
and he's
wow.
very hands-on, and he gets so into Jason. Like he takes that role very seriously. And so he was actually really excited because he was working with us on summer camp, like I was saying before. But when we actually got to tell him, this is now becoming Friday the 13th, you can go back and actually play that role, because he hasn't played it since Jason X, right? He wasn't Jason in Freddy vs.
The Freddy
Jason,
versus Jason, yeah.
or the reboot. Right?
Oh, do you know who that was?
Derek Mears.
Okay. Yeah,
But,
didn't know off the top of my head.
But he was so honored and overjoyed to be able to. This is the character that he helped, like really kind of break out and become, massive as far as like pop culture goes. Everybody knows Jason, and he's kind of the quintessential Jason.
Yeah, like it's clearly he lives for it. If you look at any blog post or any videos, watch him stomp around in the like full outfit and the thing. He really does get intensely into it. Have you ever actually had him or anyone else get injured during the mocap? Because it's like we see from the videos that we were showing, he's really tossing them and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he actually got injured.
Yeah, I had a feeling. Yeah,
and at some point we showed some gnarly shots of his arm. It was bruised to hell. But he just muscled through it. He was injured and just continued to shoot. Nobody knew until after the fact. He knew, but he's such a professional, and he's so like, we're gonna get in, we're gonna do this. We're getting all the moves captured, everything's getting done today, and he just did it and never told anybody, just went with it. I mean, the dude is amazing. He's definitely older now, but he hasn't stopped. He's still like massive. Like when in our Kickstarter video, when we were filming it, and it's actually in the Kickstarter video proper. If you go back to the page, you can watch it. He likes to play pranks and practical jokes on people. He likes to get people, but again, he's very hands-on.
That's
and
terrifying.
physical.
I don't want him to prank me. Like
He choked out Adam Sessler, and that's in the video. And that was pretty amazing to see. And I thought, oh well, that's probably the extent of it. So it came time to film the interview with him and me talking for Kickstarter for the video, and I'm sitting next to him, and we're introducing ourselves. It's like he does his introduction, I do my introduction, and like midway into it, bam, I'm hit. Right? He hit me on camera, and it was funny. Ended up not breaking my teeth or anything.
Well, thank goodness.
He pulled the punch. He's a stuntman, right? But he's big, and there's still power behind that fist to sell it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, whoa. So yeah, I've officially been hit in the face by Kane Hodder.
Oh, and you survived. So I mean,
survived.
that's...
Well, he pulled the punch.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Obviously.
I mean, in fairness to him, he
I
pulled
probably
the
would have
punch.
no teeth left.
Yeah, just shattered everywhere. We've seen what he does to people when he gets them good. Yeah, that's a great one. I didn't realize that he had choked out Adam Sessler. Actually, that's
if you ever, whether you like Adam or whether you're annoyed by Adam, Adam's a great guy.
Oh, I used to watch him on G4 all the time.
All the time, right?
All the time. Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to see Adam Sessler choked out for any reason, it is in the Kickstarter video. Like, go watch it. You'll have some fun.
Oh, okay, I'm gonna throw this one out here. If you ever want to see Cliff Bleszinski get punched in the face, you have to watch our awards. The Tim Sweeney Lifetime Achievement Award, because there's like a little clip that they did beforehand where someone runs up and punches Cliff in the face, and like everyone's like, what? How did they get him for that? And so kind of like a similar thing. I don't know why, but seeing one of my favorite game devs out there, it's like suddenly violence always makes me laugh. I'm a terrible person. Yeah, so let's see here. It seems like you guys wanted to be really true, like really true.
Yeah.
So you got Kane, you had all these guys coming here, you had Tom and all them, and we'll even show like a little bit of what Tom had made a special little outfit for him too. But the map actually I was interested in is that your own interpretation based off of, because I imagine that they're not all shot at the same exact campsite. So is that your own interpretation of the camps, or is that based off of one in particular one?
All the feature houses, like let's say Higgins Haven or Packanack Lodge, those are all based off the movies that featured each of those locations, right? All the area around them is kind of an amalgam.
Okay.
It's like because the camps weren't obviously real. The layouts that they kind of portray in the movie, they're different sets, different locations. So we would just take the feature object, the feature place, and make sure that was completely and totally, adhering to exactly what you see in the films. And then everything else around it, we kind of fudge. But we try. Every cabin looks and feels like you're in the movie, right?
Yeah.
When you're walking around and exploring it. But they're just bits and pieces that make you think that it's not like we didn't. All the cabins aren't based off of like a realistic floor plan or anything.
That makes sense. I know that like maybe in one or two movies you see like the map up on the side of a sign or something, but they're not consistent. I was
Right.
kind of picking that up. That they kind of had to fudge them every time. So that's cool that you guys got the mainstay like interesting places in there and pieced it together. And if you go out into the middle of the lake too, he can still get you and all that
Yep.
too. So just like in the movies.
Yeah, and every one of our maps, all three of them, we have Camp Crystal Lake, we have Packanack, and we have Higgins Haven. So all three of those maps take place. They all have water elements. Like Camp Crystal Lake, like as a whole, is very large. So we basically design the maps around pockets and areas around the lake. So every map has water. Every map has forests and trails and all this stuff. So there are some similar elements, but they all have their own unique parts as well.
And you can get off every kill on every map, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, have you considered the space map?
I mean that's a popular request. Like people want to go to the Grendel, right? They want to play there, and we've talked about it internally. We've discussed it. I mean, it was even a stretch goal.
It was a very far off stretch
Yes,
goal, though.
a
That's
very
why I
far off
asked. I
stretch goal.
remember the Jason X like is it nitrous freeze like face smash move? That maneuver was supposed to be in like a far stretch goal.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm glad that you guys are thinking about like all the different movies and all that. That's
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, we're fans of the whole entire series.
Mm-hmm.
Even what some people would call its low points. I mean, some people don't like Part 5, and those that do still acknowledge that it's a different movie since it's basically a fake Jason. Jason's not even in Part 5.
It's I forgot that it's an impersonator.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, spoilers
Spoilers.
again. I'm sorry.
We're spoiling every movie.
Yeah.
How does Godfather end? Let everybody know.
They take the cannoli and left the gun. So I just ruined that one for you too. Cannoli taken. You know it's going to be gone at the end of the movie. Cool. Very nice. So let's see. Why did you guys end up picking UE4 in the end, engine-wise?
I mean, engine-wise, it had the most solid networking we could find, and since it's a multiplayer game, that was obviously like a huge consideration. Like we wanted that working from day one. Like as soon as we were working on the prototypes, like we wanted to be able to hop in and start playing the game as intended as soon as possible. So that was probably the biggest driving force, but obviously the graphical fidelity, the rendering pipeline, like everything for about it was perfect for this game. Like especially
Awesome.
when we actually became Friday the 13th, it was like we can't mess around. We have to go the highest quality that we can achieve visually and have that network stability already in place. Like those were the biggest things that drove us to choose Unreal over any other engine that was out there.
That's awesome. And seeing how you guys are also utilizing like animation systems, it's pretty clear that, first of all, thanks Lena. Those are awesome. She's the one who made them. But yeah. So those animation systems are being heavily used. You guys are it's mocap everywhere. There's tons of blending going on. So I'll probably have to, once you guys actually have a lot more out the door, probably have to get one of your guys to come in here and we'll do like an engine breakdown build or something.
I'm
gnarly
sure
like
we
that.
can get one of our lead engineer Dan to come down or join via Skype or something.
Oh yeah, that's so cool.
Harry Bolts, he's one of our animators.
Awesome. And so on top of all of this, you guys had a lot of very organic marketing. Like not only did you guys have like a really nice Kickstarter, but the marketing, the live streamer pickup, it just feels like you guys made an awesome thing and then it just ran with itself.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it, and we're not fools. We know that
You've been around.
having
Yeah.
the Friday the 13th license does a lot of that for you, right? You're making the Friday the 13th game. People who are already the fans that are already established, everybody that knows Jason, the hockey mask, everything, show up and they're interested already. So that helps, obviously. So we're not like PR marketing like gods or anything, but our approach after doing the Kickstarter was total transparency, and that paid off. Like right now, AAA companies are very they keep they're guarded. Everything's close to the chest. They have their way of how they message about the game. Like nothing goes out the same day that a decision's made or anything like that. There's no like broadcasting from on the motion capture set like that day, like with Periscope or anything like that. Everything's guarded. You see it 3 months later, or you don't ever see it, right? So a lot of people don't know if you're just mainly playing AAA games, they don't know how games are made, and they don't really know how long they take, how many people are involved, and what all goes into it. So our big thing was let's just be as transparent as possible. Let's take people along for the ride. Let's not only show them all the cool stuff, but kind of let them even further behind the scenes and explain how the process works, how many people are involved, and how much how much work and effort, blood, sweat, and tears goes into actually developing a game, so that maybe there would be a less toxic community and people will be more understanding that it is really tough. It's tough to make any game and actually get it out the door, no matter how simple. But to make bigger, larger games that look and play like we wanted this to play are even harder, because it's somewhat experimental as far as asymmetrical gameplay goes.
Yeah,
like,
it's definitely experimental. Yeah,
it's not like there haven't been a lot of asymmetrical games that have come out.
No,
right?
and it's definitely, you guys looked at what was there and then went, it's completely different from those guys even, and then you were making your own completely different system. And so I can see why it makes perfect sense to want to be transparent when you're making almost a new genre of things. It can be very confusing, and this is something that we see a lot in our developers too out there in chat and whatnot. They have a lot of questions from people looking at them making development, and it happens to us too here. Like, transparency is key. You want to make sure that they know what you're doing.
Yeah, you guys are doing a great job. I mean, this is amazing that you're every week you're here talking about the engine, answering questions, and
we try. I try to get as many of our guys on here to be honest and open and talk about bugs, and we even crash stuff on the stream too, just to show them like we're not perfect. It happens.
It happens.
Yep,
it's hard.
Yeah, and I really like that. Like I said, I love the mocap ones were the ones that I watched, and those were just so cool. And you get to see the literal stumbling of like the mocap actors, like whoops, back it up, another take.
Do it again.
Yep. It's not like we in these spaces that make these high quality looking games, like you guys for instance, it's not like it just came out perfect the first go. You did it 50 times and didn't show everyone the 49 wrong ones, and did the one that was good and put that one right up front, and that's what's good to see, is behind the scenes. And you were talking about fans of the game picked it up immediately, but how about all the live streamers that just came out of the woodwork to ask you for codes, right?
Wow, okay, so we were getting ready to do the beta. We announced that we're going to be doing the beta, and all of a sudden we were swarmed by even the largest live streamers on Twitch and the biggest YouTubers around. They came to us. Like, usually you have to court them as a developer. You got to reach out and contact them, say, hey, we're going to give you a code. Please play our game. And, a lot of niceties go into that, and you hope they play it, right?
And then they have lots of good things to say while they're playing it. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But they came to us, like all of them, like as many as we almost couldn't field them. Like one of our community managers and associate producers, Ben Strauss, fields all the emails, all the requests that come through on Twitter or Facebook or YouTube comments or however they come in. He's there fielding them all and collecting them all and getting them their codes. But it was amazing. It was like this wave of people who just were so excited to check the game out, and we were just floored. And we didn't totally expect it, but we're glad it happened. And next thing you know, we're running the beta, and Friday the 13th is on the front page of Twitch.
Yeah, it hit it was like number one for a hot second there when Lyric jumped on, and everyone at Epic was watching. Like, Lyric's playing, it was like 50,000 people or something crazy like that.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable, yeah. So that was really incredible. And for those of you out there who might be making a game that's good for Twitch, like you said, courting is normally what you have to do. So it's a lucky break, but it's beautiful.
Important.
Yeah,
it's so important. I mean, there's so many options for people for entertainment these days. Not just games, but movies, TV. Hopping on, just browsing the internet, talking to friends, whatever. It's a competition for players, for people's time, right? So if you're just working solely on game development and that's all you're doing, and you're not talking about your game, you're not thinking about how you're going to promote it and market it, you're definitely doing yourself a disservice. You're going to probably launch, to crickets, right?
Yeah.
Got to think about marketing and PR from the start of development. Like you need to plan. You need to actually be out there and actually spend time doing that. And that's where courting streamers comes into play. At some point when it's ready to play, you want people to play because they're going to bring eyeballs to it.
And that makes sense. The I tell two friends and he tells two friends, but now in the age of the internet, it's I tell this guy and he tells his 50 followers, and then he tells his 500 followers, and then that guy tells 1,000
happens
followers.
to know lyric.
Yes. And he's like, "Cool, I'll take the game where I chop people in the head, and that'll be awesome." Yeah. It's a pretty incredible kind of situation. And also your Twitter account is very active and engaging. You guys, and is that you on the other side of that, or
no, actually, that's mostly I used to do a little more of it, but Ben took it all over. Our
Okay.
community manager, so he is snarky and
Yes.
he has a lot of fun, and he's not afraid to get out there and actually interact with everybody. He will answer every question that comes through. He will blaze through it all as fast as possible, or as long as it takes. It could take days to get through every single message that comes in, but he does a good job of actually going through all of them on Facebook and any other place that they come through.
Cool. We've been getting a lot of questions out of chat too, so I want to make sure that the people at home get to ask their questions. Let's see here. Since you brought up the IP and certainty of licensing, could you briefly mention if your merchandising is clear? Are you going to have merchandise, and how does that work out for you?
Well, with a license this big, that has actually been carved up and chopped up in so many different ways that you wouldn't expect. It's really hard to do merchandising. So, like, different studios have owned this franchise and done different films. So they've all been passed around. Like New Line's been involved, WB, Paramount. So when every time that any kind of transfer takes place, it gets carved up, it gets chopped up. The director might end up owning some part of it, or a character, or multiple characters, and somebody owns the image of the mask, and everything just ends up different places. So it's really hard to get merchandising rights for something this large. We are releasing game merchandise stuff, so like the soundtrack and art book, stuff like that. But to actually like release like characters or action figures based on any of the Jasons, even though they're in the game, there's a lot of lawyers involved, a lot of legality. It's too much to go through.
Oh wow!
It's more than you think, and sometimes these contracts. They exist somewhere and you have to find them, and you don't know where they are. Like they're 20, 30 years old, and you're trying to figure out and kind of basically do detective work just to figure out who owns, the look of this one Jason.
Yeah, I can imagine that's pretty difficult, considering how much it's... Sorry, I had something go down my throat funny, so I'm like... So, yeah, I'm sure it's difficult. They've broken up the franchise 100 times, tons of directors, so probably a little bit trickier.
And then you add in the actors as well. Like they have their own rights. Their likenesses aren't necessarily usable. So there's so many things you have to go through, and it ends up just being a time sink if you really wanted to invest in it. And it's like, do we want to solve the merchandising problem and get that, or do we want to make a great game, right? And obviously that's the choice we made, is like let's focus on the game. It'd be nice if we can do merch, and we're going to do some, but yeah, the focus has been solely, and we're a small team, so it's been
game, and then it'll work
see what
itself
else
out.
happens.
Yeah, I'm sure that you guys will probably have like T-shirts or something, but as far as action figures go, I'm sure that gets really tricky fast.
Yeah.
Let's see. What is the hardest part of making the counselors as fun to play as Jason is? Because that's another thing, is like you don't get to choose really, right? Like, how does that work?
So yeah, when you start the game up, you enter a lobby and you get to choose the Jason you will be if you are chosen as Jason. So it's 7 counselors trying to survive the night, and one person gets to play as Jason every match. So you select the counselor you're going to be and the Jason you're going to be, should you be one or the other. Everybody does that, and then you launch into the game. Everybody finds out once the game's loaded who they are, right, in the game, whether you're the killer, you're Jason, or a counselor, and then it's go, right? So that we did that. We tried to be smart with that because we didn't want players going, oh damn it, I'm not Jason, you know, I don't want to play. I'm going to go to another lobby. So we have a whole back end system like that. If you stick around in that lobby, you're more likely to be Jason. The probability increases that you'll be Jason and selected because you're hanging out there. So we, you know, it naturally keeps people playing because that's their goal. They want to play as the killer.
Yeah, and it kind of prevents draft dodging in a way.
Yeah, yeah. And so that's really worked out for us. But as far as playing the counselors and making that fun, we knew everybody wanted to play as Jason. They wanted that power fantasy. They wanted to be able to just totally go out there and rip counselors apart, right? And just torture and tear them up, you know, up to the end of the match. And
It's
let
typical
nobody
player
escape.
stuff, yeah.
It's what he does in the movies, and that's what he was going to do in the game. But we knew that playing the counselors had to be just as compelling, if not more so, because you do that far more often, right? Since there's 7 counselors every time. So that's where our focus went as far as making it fun. And what we found is, like, personally, I love playing the counselors. I like playing Jason. I love playing the counselors because that is the horror experience. That's the meat of it. Like, as Jason, it's great, you know, to play, to do one then the other because there's contrast. But all the scares, creating the scares is fun, but being scared is even more fun. The tension that's ratcheting up, working with others to try to find car parts and repair it before Jason comes and shows up, to make everybody scatter to the winds, and all of a sudden you're alone again in the dark.
Which is when he gets you.
Which is usually when he gets you. So that experience is the horror experience, and that actually ended up, I think, being the most fun aspect of the game. Like I said, Jason, amazing experience getting to play as him, but for me and for many other players that are going to play the game and that did play the game in the beta, playing as the counselors was just, there's more that you can do, and there's the feeling of actually living in, you know, for 20 minutes in this horror film is there.
Yeah, there's an exploration quality to it as well, where Jason, it's just the hunting and seeking, right?
Yeah, and every game plays that differently because, well, people.
Yeah.
People are different. People make different choices, and the maps are randomized as well somewhat. So whenever you spawn in, the cabins might not even be in the same space that they were the last time. All the big features, the shape of the lake, the Higgins house, or whatever the centerpiece is of the level is all the same, but everything around it can change. They'll place some objects, weapons that you can use to fight back against Jason, the cars, the boats, they all swap around.
Oh, so you
you're
can't
always on your
memorize
toes.
too much, yeah.
And if you're a counselor, you don't start with a map. You have to find a map as well.
And you were saying players are all different. Have you ever seen like a very particularly interesting play style or something go very strange for a while?
Interesting you bring up play styles. Like on the Jason side, there are different ways you can play as Jason. Like when we were testing the game, Wes Keltner, who's co-creator of the game, he plays a more methodical, stalkery Jason. Like he'll hold back. He'll put pressure on when it makes sense, but he'll actually play the part of Jason and actually get into it. Other people will try to be just the brute, right, and just pure force, like running after players, morphing around the map, and just trying to pin them in a corner and then off them, right? But different players have different play styles, so I tried playing different ways, and if you actually play Jason like the movies, and you wait and you watch and you wait to see the counselor turn around from a distance and notice you, instead of running after them, just let them see them, their fear spikes up. Now you can see them. There's fear mechanics in the game, so their fear spikes. And so playing a little more psychologically and scaring them and actually doing what Jason does in the movies matters. You'll be able to see them when they run and hide somewhere else, or when they link up with another pack of groups, you'll see them. They're almost like they don't even know they're the mole now. because
Their
Jason
fear
sees
infects
fear.
them.
And then
That's
yeah,
cool.
and if you show up and there's a group of 3 counselors,
Now they're all spiking on fear.
yeah,
and-
they're spiking on fear. You grab one, kill them in front of the others. Their fear spikes because they just saw a grisly murder, or they see a body. Like if you kill somebody, the body's there. They might come around a corner, see the dead body, shriek, say something. Now Jason knows somebody's in that direction. So like we have all these mechanics in play that makes it very interesting to be either Jason, but also even more interesting, I think, to be the counselors.
Yeah, that's a great that's a good argument for it. Honestly, like I didn't even think about it's exploring, finding the clues, finding a way out, all that stuff. As Jason, there's a lot of the psychology and chasing, but yeah, you have a lot more options, and so yeah, there's a lot of balance there. That's
Yeah,
very
there's more
cool.
goals. Like Jason's goals are stab everybody, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody else's goals. I mean, you can work towards a police escape, call the police, and you can make your way once you actually find all the pieces to get the phone up and running, so you can call the police. Then it's 5 minutes till they get there. Then you have to make it there without Jason picking you off, so that you can link up with the police and actually escape the lake before being killed. You could get a car running or a boat running as well by finding the parts and actually fixing it, and then finding the gas and then escaping. But that usually takes teamwork. So it's like uneasy co-op. Like at the end of the day, you only care about yourself.
Yeah, because
right?
you can totally like trip the other guy up and hit him with the baseball bat and let him go die.
And let him go down, wound him or whatever, so Jason catches him faster, because you only have to run faster than the guy behind you.
as per the movies, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
So it creates all these, since it's a social game and you play it online, and we have spatialized voice over IP. Like it's really fun to talk and communicate and work together, but also to screw people over.
Of course. Oh wow. Do Jasons use any other kinds of weapons, or is like Jason always?
Every
machete?
Jason has their own weapon kind of themed around the movie, right? Whatever weapon we felt like he used the most or most effectively for the most memorable kills, we kind of paired that up and said, this Jason gets that weapon.
So there's straight up a sleeping bag Jason yet?
There's no straight up sleeping bag Jason from part 7, but all the Jasons can do the sleeping bag kill if you find a counselor that's hiding in a tent. You can initiate that kill. But so it's kind of fun. It's almost like a what if Jason from part 2, Baghead Jason, did the sleeping bag kill? What would that look like? Well, you can see now what it would look like because you can do it.
That's awesome. Let's see here. I'm gonna do one more question from chat, and then we're gonna tell everyone who the winners, the correct guessers were. Let's see. What are all of your? I suppose we should probably cover that anyway. What are all the consoles and systems? Where all can we get this? It's going to be available. So the 26th.
May 26th this month. Yeah, it's going to be on Steam. In fact, you can actually pre-order it right now on Steam, and it's also going to be on PS4 and Xbox One.
That's awesome.
All same date.
And there was a special DLC skin that was like just a pre-order specialty skin, right?
Oh yeah,
I think,
the Tom Savini design skin. So not only
can we just jump in to this one real fast so we can
not
show
only
Tom
did
Savini?
Tom just design all of our kills and some of the craziest kills you could ever imagine, he also designed a special character, a special Jason, like a what if Jason for us. Like what if Jason from part 9, Jason Goes to Hell. What if he actually fought his way back out of hell? What would he look like?
Yeah, it's definitely a cool. I should say cool, but it's a hot skin. It's yeah, I went there, and definitely shows off what you can do with particle effects. And there's the jump. He comes in out of nowhere. He's got that fire burning off of him.
Yeah, those embers just coming off.
Yeah, he's very creepy. He's got glowing red eyes, and it's a pitchfork is his weapon of choice. I take it. It's very cool. So that one was custom designed by Tom himself.
Yeah, and it went through a lot of iterations, and he came up with tons of ideas, and ultimately this is the one that felt the most right. It had a good story behind it. It kind of continued off one of the movies and it just felt perfect. But there were a lot of great other ideas that he explored, and But yeah, we're all proud of this. We're all really happy with it. The buzz was high on it. Like everybody, when we revealed that video, people were just going gaga over it. And then shortly after that, we cut off the pre-orders from this, and we're not going to be like, this is going to be the rarest skin. Like if you didn't buy it, you're not going to have it.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. So you really can tell who was the dedicated
Yeah.
backers from like very early off have this skin.
They're going to be showing it off, showboating around.
Sweet. I feel like we should also mention that you and I are also both fans of the original NES game too.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Oh yeah. So and you've done like live streams around that too.
I've played it. It's not the greatest game, but there's a charm to it. I mean, it did a lot of things wrong.
Oh.
Right? You couldn't. It was a Friday the 13th game that you couldn't play as Jason.
Oh.
Like that's what everybody wanted to do, but you're a counselor. But for what it is, you can sink your teeth into it. It's so hard, and if you beat it, that's a gaming achievement. So another goal in our game, hearkening back to like real milestones, gaming milestones in your career. Like if you beat Mike Tyson on the NES in Punch-Out, that's something that's very memorable. So like there's a way to kill Jason. We're not telling anybody at all how it's done, but if you did happen to pull that off, you better say Xbox record that, or you might want to be like, oh, I wish I was streaming. You should be streaming the game, because now you have proof that you were able to do it, and
that there's actually a way, and
yes.
enough time, energy, and effort, you can find it.
Yeah, we purposefully designed it to be pretty hard to do in a match, but it can be done.
That's awesome. Well, Randy, I tell you what, that's all the questions that I have for you today. I think we should probably announce these winners here. So on forums, Twitter, Facebook, anywhere that we had mentioned this was happening, and we had posted like the video that you guys have provided us of that opening, just like a little basic Unreal logo comes out. But we had a lot of people guessing what it could mean, where it was from. It was clearly like 70s, 80s. And we managed to get 5 correct guesses out of the community. Wow. Yeah. So Toxin Gaming, I think Toxin Gaming was the first on the forum, showed up and said, it's Friday. If it's not Friday the 13th, it should be, because I want to see those guys talk about Friday the 13th. And then Shaddy came in behind him and said, I'm going to go with Friday the 13th as well, and just backed up that too. MNZ came in and said, it was just like a wild guess, Friday the 13th. Sure enough, got that one. Giants of Destruction. You also guessed that one right. Amazingly, Mike Sims said it better be Randy Greenback.
On the money.
On the money. Amazing. Mike Sims. Great work. So you 5 will be getting copies of Friday the 13th. Thank you to your team for providing those for our
Thank
guys.
everybody for being interested. Thanks for having me on, too.
Hey, this is crazy fun. Yeah, I always love talking about Friday the 13th and, games made on Unreal. So it worked out for everybody. But that's it for now. We will see you all at a later stream. So Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, and Thursdays as well. We will have a training stream on Tuesday. It'll be a lot of fun. And that's it. So we'll see you all later. Bye-bye now.
Bye.